let's jump straight into it. Let's meet our hosts. Next slide, please. Hi guys, I'm Joanne. I'm your host for today. I head the media buying department at Belva Digital. So I supervise buying and planning regionally in all our offices. Previously worked for well-known advertising agencies across the country. Next slide, please. Your guest host is Stephen Musyoka, aka Siox. Works as a specialist in the digital media department at Aga Khan University, East Africa. He previously worked on campaigns for a huge portfolio of blue chip clients in Kenya, UG, TZ, Ethiopia, Mauritius, and Mozambique. He did a lot of strategy execution there. And when not crafting ideas, he's basically spends his time enjoying rugby and football and traveling. Hi, Siox. Hope you're okay. Next slide, please. Fred is our moderator. He is the founder and chief here at Belva, mainly responsible for diversification and regional growth of the business. He previously worked at Google and IBM. His education portfolio is a computer science and the Chartered Institute of Marketing. Right, so what has been happening around the world in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic? From the next slide, you'll see photos of basically the quietness and the negative impact it has caused the world. So the first picture shows Pope Francis delivering his weekly blessing to an empty St. Peter's Square. Then the next photo, you can basically see supermarket shelves are empty. Priests are actually doing their confessions outside the church, which is really weird when he has his mask on. Then the next photo caught me it really pulled my heartstring. There's when you're in hospital and you see someone coming out with all covered in masks and stuff, like you feel you don't know the person who's behind all that protective clothing. So nurses and doctors are actually wearing their photos and their profiles on their uniform so that they can actually relax the patients in the hospital. Next is our Mombasa Road, our dear Mombasa Road with traffic all the time. As you can see, it's empty. Well, this should be a positive thing because, hey, no traffic. Next slide, please. On the bright side, there has been a lot of conversation online. There has been a lot of people making fun of this whole situation, making light of it. And yeah, people have been working from home with their kids, their dogs. There are other people trying out recipes, like this guy who, Francois Nderitu, says that mayai pasua is not as good as the one on the road, but you know, we have to make do with what we have. Next slide, please. I will invite Siox to talk on this one.
Okay, thanks a lot, Joanne. So there's a lot of disruption right now. This is a summary of a report that was launched by Mark Kaigwa and the Nendo team. All of a sudden, we have a lot of Instagram live parties, and there's a lot of partnerships. And Safaricom last week, they announced 70% jump in data usage as more people are staying at home, more people are watching Netflix. And then the other day I was outside a Java shop, and there were like 1 million Nduthi guys So food delivery, it's also shot up, and also these mobile lending apps, they're trying to find a way to push on consumers.
With all these, people have kind of adapted a lean-in attitude towards media consumption, having a variety of media channels to consume at the comfort of their homes. Next slide, please. So what is lean-in and what is lean-back media? So lean-in media is a type of media where receivers lean forward to actually receive content. So they have a variety, they have a choice to control the flow of information in an active manner. And then lean back media is a form of media where people just pick out the media that they would like to consume and lean back and just let the media and just watch, in other words, in like a passive manner. Next slide. So examples of lean-in would be online TV. So we can look at video on demand, YouTube, Viusasa, Netflix. So basically, it's just media that you can actually scroll onto and pick whatever you would like to watch. Then, of course, social media, website, and of course, mobile. So lean back is more the traditional TV. So for example, DSTV, Star Times, then radio is also lean back as well as out of home. Next slide. So this is just a saying from Bernard Marr. In the coming months, businesses are going to become more reliant than ever on their digital media assets, which is true because of the unprecedented almost total disappearance of all channels related to live events, conferences, sports, etc., and the increasing barriers on face-to-face business. So we must all take advantage of our digital media assets to actually communicate to our target audience. Next slide. So digitally, we have seen the rise of lean-in media channels like Zoom. Most companies are trying to get onto Zoom, Google Hangouts. People at home are talking to their loved ones via House Party, very famous app. If you guys don't know it, you should actually download it. It's really cool. Then guys, brands, news, media houses are all going live on Facebook, on Periscope, on IG, TV, so on and so forth. Next slide. So each of these channels have played a very important part in speaking to audiences. So what role does each of these channels play during these trying times, and how will they be affected by this whole pandemic? But before we jump into that, I will invite Siox to show us how we can use these channels and how we can actually communicate the right message to our target audience.
So
over to you.
this is the 99th time you're probably hearing this content is king, and you'll always hear about it because you cannot talk about platforms without understanding the kind of content we want to put there. So platforms and the content have to go hand in hand. This is why if you look at WhatsApp groups, there's a lot of fake news. This is because it's so easy to run fake content on WhatsApp because all it takes is hitting that forward button and all your contacts on WhatsApp are able to get the fake news. Next slide. So we need to look at something we call the 5 Ws and 1 H in journalism, and you need to understand your target audience. So who is your target audience? For example, we'll pick someone like Brian Bunde. What is the first thing that Brian Bunde tweets in the morning? Why was almond milk trending last week? For those who spend a good time for those who spend some time on Twitter, this was a very funny conversation. And then you need to understand the platforms for your consumers. you cannot say we want to be on Instagram, yet your target audience don't understand how Instagram works. I can see someone was a very popular figure was on Instagram last night and she couldn't use the platform. So before you go to a platform, first of all, ask yourself, your target audience, are they there? Do you know how to use that platform as well? Then when are these people online? Yeah, because we are working from home, it means we have a lot of time to spare, but doesn't mean we are idle. Where was Super Mario trending in the morning? This is because there was an Instagram live session, and let me not go there. So you need to understand your target audience very well. And then how do you talk to them? This is because we have goldfish memory when it comes to social media. Don't be so complex in your communication. If you look at how this guy in Jabush does his content, it will pull you, you will watch it, and at the end you will see what he's selling it to you. So this guy is not actually selling the product, he's selling an experience. And how he's doing it is so creative that you will laugh and see what they're selling to you. And then what do you want to tell them? Like, are you going to tell us the usual things, or your content needs to have value to us. So right now people are looking for what is the best series to watch during the lockdown. Next slide. So first of all, you need to be part of a conversation, and we summarize some of the brands which were jumping on the conversation. The first one, that one was Safaricom, where they were pushing a stay-home message in a very creative way. And then that's the Mercedes logo. They are doing their part conversation. Nike always get it right. I think they were the first brand to do it. And then at the university, what we did is we took a logo and spaced it, and we told people, this thing is temporary. We still need to remain united. And as well, Durex, they never fail when it comes to these things. So they are promoting social distancing and in a very creative way. So as a brand, have you thought about, how do you jump on this social distance in a very creative way without telling people, stay home, maintain a couple of meters away from people? Next slide. So you also need to be at the heart of the COVID-19 lifestyle. Right now, people are staying at home, so which means there's a lot of dirty dishes. And I love this one from Wings Kenya, who said, you know what, every day there's a lot of dirty dishes, so we can always order takeout. So you need to place your products and services at the heart of the new lifestyle consumers are adopting to. Indomie have really been pushing the envelope on social media, you only have 5 minutes to make lunch and get back to your desk. So they're getting people to try out cooking, and they're actually working with a lot of influencers where they show up outside your house with their van and give you a couple of boxes. I saw they gave Mbunde some headphones, and Mbunde made some very funny tweets about it. Next slide. There's also cause marketing right now. By this we mean it's not the time where you really need to think about marketing all the time. And this time we could see EABL, they communicated about what they're doing for CSR. Coca-Cola, they communicated we are all in this together. And then this one from Jameson, this one was from Ireland, where you have your favorite bartender, but they can't be getting the money they get at the end of the month because people are not going to the pubs. So they came up with an innovative way to support them. So right now you also need to think about how do you jump into cause marketing. And remember, we are all in this together because everyone has been affected, from your Uber guy, your Nduthi guy, your favorite restaurant, they're not open. So think about cause marketing as a content angle. Next slide. So this is also an opportunity for you to think about partnerships. And I could see Airtel Kenya because kids are not going to school. So they've partnered with our Longhorn publishers, keep things going. This was big fish. I ordered fish from them, and I think I paid like 600 bob for delivery, and then I complained, and Osumo said, he's working with Safe Border to see how best it can come in. And among the best partnerships I've seen, this one was from Nyashinsky, where he worked with Samsung and Safaricom to launch his album. And there were very good numbers from this performance, and it was on all channels. So this is a result of partnership. And I managed to take those small images at the bottom. This guy called Wangwe, he said they have a stupid idea. But then remember, there's never a stupid idea. Last week, he pushed something called, I think, Movies KE. So people are watching Netflix. So you think, as a telco, you can look at, can we push our data bundles on these? If you're working from Coca-Cola, this would be a good time for you to plug in and say, join hashtag Movies KE, with a Coke and all that. And then that screenshot was from John Falme. He's been going live, and you need to see how best can you work with these DJs and people who are going live on social media. Next slide. There's also a chance for temporary branding. This one was from Time Out magazine, where they rebranded to Time In, and the website is emphasizing stories that that are of relevance to people. And you can see the content they run right now is, the best takeout and delivery restaurants, top 40 best movies on Netflix. It's because they know people can't go out anymore. So they did a temporary rebranding. And then this is Jubilee. They've become very relevant, and they're pushing a lot of informative content. So right now people actually, I've seen, is it banana bread? Everyone is trying to become a chef, and they're making banana bread. So you can, develop content. Once you develop this content, of course, you need to see which platform can I put this on. And then there's also the usual content baiting, top 10 things you can do with your chicken, number 6 will shock you. So you need to become very relevant and informative with this content. Next slide. One last thing is, we have a lot of time on our hands right now. So you need to come up with content that can engage your consumers. So this one is something we developed with another rugby blog. And when we published it, a lot of people are replying to it. So right now, people have a lot of time, but then remember, it doesn't mean that they're idle. So you really need to make sure your content is engaging. And then it also allows you to become creative. This is Lakita, one of the best creatives around. He's been pushing the whole masks save lives. If you look at his LinkedIn account, he always posts these funny artworks. So again, content is king, and we will move now to the platforms and see how best to distribute this content. So back to you, John.
Cool. So now we just we're going to look at the categories and see how some have been affected positively, some have been affected negatively, but there is still exponential growth during these times. Next slide, please. So we'll look at the negative categories. We'll start with sports and fitness. So as you can see, EPL channels like SuperSport 1, 2, 3, all the way to 13 have a decrease in viewership. This is mainly because there's no football, there's no rugby, there's basically nothing. Gym memberships have also been withdrawn. Seeing seeing conversion rates drop by far. Fitness camps have also been affected because of social distancing, so nobody would actually do any of these activities. Next would be the automotive industry. As people remain with intent to purchase, This is basically looking at the future. Research is still going on, but we see it affecting industries like insurance. So because there are not many people buying cars right now due to the uncertainty of what's going on, we, of course, car insurance will also affect in terms of conversion rates. So yeah, it looks like the insurance industry has been hit hard. Next slide, please. Tourism and travel, of course, decrease in conversions. Most people are either canceling their travels or scheduling to a later date. I've seen people canceling their holidays and postponing to actually like 1 year from now. So it's been hit hard. Industrial and manufacturing, because of the social distancing, we're seeing PPC campaigns for manufacturing and industrial goods also impacted. CPCs have increased by 5%, but conversion rates are decreasing modestly as we go through the whole pandemic. Next slide. The positive categories would be entertainment and games. So we spoke about lean in media. Video on demand is becoming is growing exponentially. Movies, sports, entertainment is also growing. You get a lot of people on Netflix, guys who are not working because of because of what is going on, have actually had more variety to watch and consume entertainment channels. Next slide. Shipping and packaging. So as traditional retail shifts, the focus is online. So packaging and shipping supplies have doubled their search ad conversions, and their conversion rates have gone up to about 107% because of online e-commerce, delivery, etc. Next slide. We also have finance and banking. So as the country goes cashless, digital asset upgrades like mobile banking apps have seen an increase in downloads by like 75% plus. Increase in insurance for business for security purposes are also increasing due to the uncertainty of the times. Next slide. Personal care, of course. As personal grooming parlors shut down, salons, eyebrows, shampoo girls and all those guys have actually gone into their homes. People are more inclined to turn to the internet for personal grooming. So we're seeing a rise in traffic, we're seeing a rise in product purchases, etc. So what channels are actually effective during these uncertain times? Next slide. Number one, we'll start with search. So there's a saying by a popular marketing adage saying that when times are good, you should advertise. But when times are bad, you must advertise. So search has actually, by the way, I thought that search would actually really perform poorly for most of our campaigns, but it has been part and parcel of good results from our campaigns. So normally advertisers note a drop in PPC overnight, but during this time, we have seen a drop steeper, bringing it up to 30%. This is just basically because search tends to be geared towards the lower funnel. People usually use search for conversion-based campaigns, but it would be good to move away from that into brand awareness, and you'll see wonders. We have actually tried it out, and it has shown and tested a good click-through rate and good traffic numbers. Next slide, please. So when it comes to search queries, you can see up from March 14th all the way down to now, we're seeing Google searches on COVID as compared to politics, entertainment, weather, health. So this is just to say we must be relevant and we must be very present in terms of our communication to our target audience. Next slide. So some best practices for search. Optimizing for conversions? No. Optimizing for brand awareness? Yes. Ad scheduling is also key. You need to figure out what time your target audience is online, and ensure that your ads are running from that time to the time that they drop off. So we have dashboards. All media buyers and planners know that our Facebooks, our Twitters, our Googles have these insights where we can talk, where we can schedule our ads. Then we need to bid more we need to do more smart bidding. Basically, let our dashboards bid on our behalf. And then we need to do more mobile targeting as compared to desktop. Next slide, please. So for Facebook and IG, it has been very low in terms of demand for products, in terms of ads. But recently, or on the bright side, Facebook has actually indicated a 45% drop in CPM pricing. So this means that there is actually available ad space, available ad impressions in the plenty for those who are still planning on advertising, meaning your visibility would be higher, and advertisers can now take advantage of this at a really cheaper cost. So some best practices for Facebook: stay consistent and extend your high performing ads. So because of the go slow and because of this whole COVID-19 pandemic, many of Facebook workers are now working from home. So it gets kind of difficult for new ads to be reviewed and approved in a certain period of time. So it would be best to actually keep your high performing ads visible. Then build brand awareness, of course. I know brand awareness is more high funnel, but right now, as we're looking at this whole situation, right now conversion would actually be no. So brand awareness is your best bet. Focus on remarketing campaigns, of course. For those of us, probably I'll take the insurance sector. There are people who are actually showing interest, but we must keep reminding them that our ads are around, and that we as a brand are around, and remarketing campaigns would really work well. Then always test ad creative and audiences. Try out Facebook and Instagram Live. Like Siok said, you can always take advantage of influencers who can advise or who can talk more on your brand. And then, of course, always engage your target audience. On social media or on Facebook, you find that on Twitter, everywhere, you find that giving the target audience or reminding the target audience that you're actually here for them, giving them things like puzzles, like word search and stuff, that actually drills in top of mind awareness. So in the future, you have right now, you have engaged with them, the future remains positive for your brand. Next slide. So we'll jump into Twitter. Twitter has always been the #1 real-time news update platform. It would be nice for you to be present and not just promoting posts like we always do. It would be nice to be relevant and present. It would be nice to engage into the current conversations, because COVID-19, hashtag coronavirus Kenya, work from home Kenya has always been trending. So how do you, it's actually been trending for what, 2 weeks now, almost 3. Yeah, so it would be nice for you to actually jump on to those conversations using this real-time platform. Next slide. Display, of course, is also one of the effective channels we can use. So advertisers are shifting from geofencing actually to addressable geofencing. And by that, I mean people are actually now, because people are at home, advertisers are now trying to mark all residential areas around the city, around the country, to actually serve ads. But despite the affordable CPMs, programmatic is really suffering. 40%, 47%, almost 50 of advertisers say that they would actually pull budget from display. But then again, that doesn't stop you, right? Because as we've seen on Facebook, there's also available impressions, available inventory, available ad space that you can actually take advantage of at very lower CPMs. Another trend we're also seeing is that because entertainment apps like games, puzzles, etc., are what people are using right now, it would be good to shift your advertising budget into in-app campaigns. Also, customer loyalty is key. We're hoping that businesses bounce back, so we're able to emphasize on retargeting as well. Always retarget on when you are setting up your campaigns. Next slide, please. So best practices, of course, in-app advertising right now is your best bet. Explore videos like YouTube. This is one of the lean-in media channels that everyone is using right now, either watching videos, documentaries, listening to music. So it would be good for you to be present. Your awareness campaigns can be present on YouTube. Then, of course, complement your display ads with relevant keyword targeting. So apart from the affinities and the in-market, right now, not many people are in-market, of course. People tend to lean more towards affinity audiences as compared to in-market. So it would be nice for you to be relevant in terms of using relevant keyword targeting. Of course, ad scheduling will help you spend your ad money wisely. It would be weird to advertise at 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning when your target audience is asleep. Then, of course, optimize ads for mobile. Next slide, please. There's one thing that I noticed that many businesses usually shun off Google My Business. And I think this is very, very important for especially SMEs who are trying to set up shop in this situation. It would be good to ensure that you display your business hours, your address, put up posts, reviews for your business, and you'll see people streaming into your shop as soon as you get this started. Next slide. C-commerce, we've all heard of e-commerce. C-commerce basically can mean two things: collaborative commerce or conversational commerce. So what I'm talking about right now is conversational commerce. This is where, because physical contact is minimal to zero, brands have to communicate to their clients. But how do they do it? So platforms like WhatsApp for Business and chatbots across social media would prove efficient. So things like product inquiries, catalog offers, payments within app. They have people have or brands have M-Pesa SDK pushes, and then finally the free delivery element of it would really be hosted in one platform to ensure that you are actually gaining in and making business out of this. So yeah, basically these are the 4 or 5 channels that we have seen that is really working towards our advantage. And of course, all platforms do work. You just have to ensure that you are communicating the right thing, and awareness, depending on the vertical or category, would be the essential and critical point of communication right now. So you can now send in your questions and we can take it from there.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Joanne and Siox, for taking us through that. We've got a lot of questions. Allow me to filter that and share with you. Right. We have Christine Sitawa. Thanks for joining. She's asking, which is the best communication media to our stakeholders, i.e. to give them updates on market opportunities and how best to respond to the impact of COVID-19? Is bulk SMS ideal, and what's your view? Siox, I think you can take this. She hasn't mentioned the industry she is.
Okay.
Sitawa, if you can hear us, actually, you can unmute yourself and probably ask the question yourself. Hello?
So anyway, let's look at it from this angle. You first of all need to identify your target audience. Where can you find them? Like, my mother is on WhatsApp, but she's not always online, and she will be online on Saturdays at 9 p.m. and she will start sending me funny videos of me singing. So that means my mom is not the right WhatsApp is not the right platform for my mother. So you need to sit down and evaluate your audience first. Where are they? And then what is the cost of accessing them? Because if you're going to use bulk SMS, you need to think about the cost. So you cannot just handpick a platform. You need to identify your target audience. We say Facebook is for people we went to school with, and Twitter is for people we wish we went to school with. So Twitter will of course be very buzzing and all that. Facebook, despite being I think it's the top or number 2 top social platform, it's still very active. You have Kilimani Moms, you have Beware and all that. So you need to look at this place you're going to distribute. Then you also need to look at the kind of message you're going to share. If you're going to produce a 1-minute video, you need to look at Twitter supports video, Facebook supports video, WhatsApp supports video. So you also need to look at the the kind of message you want to communicate. The Ministry of Health has been using SMSs because they figured out this is very easy to use. Someone in Machakos, they are not online, they'll get this message. So again, look at your target audience, then look at the kind of message you want to send. You're not going to send me a 50 GB video. I'm not going to open it.
Thanks. Thank you, Siox, for that. There's someone who's giving a thumbs up, Kevin, on GMB, Google My Business. I think we have a question from Collins. I've seen brands push sales-y content. Shouldn't this be the time to take a backseat on such content and take a human approach, considering the crisis we are in? I think, Siox, you can take that again.
Things have to keep on moving. If we closed down, things would actually come to a stop. And you have an obligation. There are people who are working in your team. There are people who you've employed. You need to pay salaries. So you cannot take a backseat right now. You see, even at Matangas, you have people who come to hawk those photos of the deceased. You have people who come to take photos and they sell them at 50 bob to you. So, it's a hustling world out there. But again, your approach should be very different. That one we can agree to disagree. Your approach should be very different. This is a time when we are all everything is stuck. But your communication, you need to look at cause marketing. You need to find a creative way to pitch your products to people. For example, EABL, they've been saying, 6 p.m. isikupate bila 6-pack. Of course, at 6 p.m. there's a curfew. So you need to get a 6-pack. So you need to approach marketing differently. But again, you cannot stop business right now.
All right, thank you. So we have a hand from Elsie. Elsie, I'll allow you to talk. Feel free to ask a question. Hello, Elsie. You can unmute yourself and ask the question. All right, Elsie, I think you might have raised it by mistake. Oh, Elsie, sorry. Oh, there you go. Hello?
I guess you can just read out her question.
I don't see any question in chat, so I'll go to Stella Maris. Stella Maris, your hand is up. I'll allow you to talk as well.
Thank you, Fred. Guys, very well done. Can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly. Thank you.
Thank you, Siox. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Fred, for organizing this. Very well done. Mine is just a comment to tell you guys, well done. Thank you for speaking on two things that are important. And I hope we have people who are decision makers that have benefited from this. Mine is just a comment. As a content lover, I keep on saying that we are in a CIA situation with our audiences right now as brands, as businesses. And what I mean by that is that our audiences are looking for connection, they're looking for information, and they're looking for authenticity. So it would also be good. I had Siox speak to something on how people are actively, participating on things that would not be normal, like cooking. Joanne spoke about personal grooming. Everyone is now becoming a stylist, is becoming, something. So it would be good to see how brands take advantage of this and actually create communities for themselves and have advocacy from people who actually are using, their brands or interested in their businesses. So thank you, guys.
Oh, thank you so much, Mary. Yeah, we look forward to seeing more of this. Sorry, John, carry on. Yeah.
So there's a question I've seen from Rose Munuhe. She asks, what will be ROI right now is the question. Right now, to be honest, we should not look for ROI, but we should look into having a conversation. We should look into being intimate with our target audience right now. Show them that you are there for them. Show them that your brand is thinking of the future as compared to the now. You just need to be very relevant in terms of your conversation with the target audience. Driving sales, trying to get people to buy, will not give you any ROI right now, directly. Yes.
All right, thanks, John. We have a hand from Vanessa. Vanessa, I'll allow you to talk.
Hi.
Hi, Vanessa.
Yeah, so I hope everyone can hear me. Thank you for this meeting. I think I agree with Stella. Everything has been well executed, but sorry, I joined a bit late, so I have a question, and just in case maybe it had already been mentioned, please bear with me and just repeat.
Sure.
So my question is, as much as right now we're looking at the whole situation of, as John has mentioned, we need to appear that we care about our clients, and we want to, all our content should be driven towards showing them that we are there with them during this trying period and all that. So I think that's a good idea. However, my only reservation is some of us still work for companies that are solely based on the, what do I call it, investment of other people. So how do you suggest, what do you suggest would be a proper solution to help? Yes, we still want to appear we are here with you during this trying period, and we would still like to have content driven towards such an angle, but we still also would like to be able to make some sales. So what do you think is the best way to go about it, so that we appear we are still there, but at the same time we still need to be making money? Because we cannot say now that all our content will just be about we are here with you and then close all the sales driven posts or anything like that. So what do you think is the best way to go about this without looking like at the same time we're just saying bye, bye, bye?
May I ask what category this is?
Sorry, this is real estate.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
So one thing, one takeaway that I've learned from real estate is people are not really looking to buy right now, but they are actually thinking of the future, right? Most of our clients who have actually called us, called in, are are talking about how people are actually inquiring on property sale on property, but keep saying, oh, let's wait for this whole thing to go down, and then let's see what happens in the future. So number one, I'd say VR is one of the best things that we can take advantage of, because of social distancing, because of not being able to come out of the house. You can actually look at stuff like getting people to be on your platform, getting people to have 3D views, maybe on social media, on the website of each of your properties. It might not lead into a direct sale now, but it might, however, lead to a direct sale in the future. I hope I've answered your question, Vanessa.
No, I wasn't talking about I wasn't talking about VR specifically. I was talking about the content, because what you mentioned was our content should not be sales oriented or sales driven at whatsoever. All the content should be about talking to these clients and trying to show them that we are there with them during this period.
Yeah.
So I was saying, in as much as we should have content like that, how do we also go about still ensuring that we are able to drive some sales our way, because we cannot completely just ignore the fact that we are in business to make money.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's a tricky situation, I can say.
Yeah.
Sorry, Fred, you
Yeah.
can contribute to this conversation.
It's
Oh,
actually Siox jumping in. Siox, go ahead.
so it's that question is similar to what I've seen here. Like, how can people in tourism tap into this whole thing? Right now, you're not going to communicate to drive sales FYI. Right now, you're going to communicate to maintain that relationship with your audiences, with your clients. And I'll give you a good example of what Emirates did. They uploaded a video of what they're doing with their flights right now. You know, they still keep the engines running. It's so magical. Kenya communicates something to do with, like, we'll be right here when this whole thing ends. So you need to look at your content and achieve an always on angle. Like, you're not going to sell anything right now. Honestly, no one is going to buy. But what kind of content can you have? What hacks can you provide to people? What don't people know right now about your products and services? So also think about hacks and all that. And as Joanne said, it's a very tricky situation because no one saw it coming. But then the good thing with marketing and digital is you can always adapt. You can always come up with something and people will actually buy into it. So think about always on, not to sell, but to keep the connections, the relationship between your audiences. So that's an idea you can look at.
Okay, yeah, thanks. That helps. That's a good insight. Thank you.
So just have a look at that Emirates video. It really made me laugh. I was like, yeah, and then someone took a jab at KQ and they were like, za KQ zile siku zitaashwa, I don't know, they will chomoa moshi from all that. So think about, yeah, you're home, but what can you do? What are the hacks people can do with your products and services? It's the same way, like for benchwarmers, this guy called Lavin is a very funny guy. Lavin was saying, you know, he's exhausted all throwback content. But again, think about it, Lavin. You have Colin Sinjera, who's very active on Instagram. He's always cooking. How about you have a live banter session where you bring in someone like Sir Alexa's and you have a live banter session, you review something. So all is not lost. This is a good opportunity to become innovative. This is a good opportunity for us to explore what we call 70-20-10. So 70 is what has been done, what you've done. 20% is what other brands are doing, what other companies are doing, which you can improve. And the 10% is room for something new, which has not been done there. So think about that 70-20 angled and 10%. And you'll actually find your content going viral because, people are home right now, they're watching Netflix. So be innovative. This is a good opportunity for brand and content owners to try out something new.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vanessa. Thanks, Steve. I think there's another good question from Bree Mongina. How do you convince people to spend during this time, since most of them want to spend of things that matter the most or are trying to save as much as they can? If I'm not wrong, you've tried to answer that in the previous comment, Steve, right? Musyoka?
Yes, just repeat the question.
She's asking, Bree is asking, how do you convince people to spend during this time when certainly we are all trying to save as much as we need to?
There's no money. Let's start from there. So there's no money right now. People are not people are very cautious of shilling. And a consumer will be split between buying data and buying a refreshment. So right now, instead of selling the product, why don't you sell the experience? So right now you tell me, instead of telling me you get 10 GBs with this amount of money, tell me what can I do with that 10 GB? What is the end use? What is the experience I get from this? And then you also mash it up with my lifestyle right now. So right now I'm cooking a lot. So that means your content needs to sneak into that. But again, please don't force things. Like if you're in Unilever, this is a good time to tell people, did you know you can also use this detergent to do this? So think about the product, think about the user experience at the end and do it. Again, please don't sell. No one, right now we're dealing with a lot of COVID fake news, COVID numbers. Motai Kagwe is coming to the news, to the screen all the time. So your content needs to sell an experience to us. And you need to make my life very simple, by the way. Tell me if you drink this, you will feel like this. So please make my life very simple.
Yeah, I think we have a very good question from Mirembe. She's asked, sorry, I'm not sure whether of the gender. How can furniture businesses or companies stay relevant and perhaps make some money during this time?
Everyone is looking for an office desk. For furniture, again, it's the comfort. You need to look at people are switching. Their house is now serving as a playground. It's serving as a classroom. It's also serving as a restaurant. So what can this furniture do for me that what I have currently, like, that it cannot help me? So you need to look at product experience. There's spaces in the house. Can it make my life very simple? And again, someone tweeted and asked, how comes furniture they are not really promoting? And there was like, this would have been a good opportunity for them. And there's a report I tweeted a couple of weeks ago as well. It talks about life after COVID, where it says we will have to switch our lifestyle. HR have actually realized people don't need to be in the office 8 to 5. So this is a good opportunity for furniture makers to think about how can we fit into life after COVID, and not just to think about life during COVID, but life after COVID.
Thanks, Steve. We have a hand from Rose. Rose, I'll allow you to talk. You can unmute your mic and ask the question.
Hi.
Hi,
Hello?
Rose. Yes,
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I think one of the businesses, I don't know if he said it, I've seen also cleaning businesses advertising a lot. Like for once, on Instagram, and I'm seeing Jik is also promoting, like we buy a lot of their products, which I think is also good. Just a concern on the sales aspect. I think too many business were more focused on sale in their marketing and sales and marketing for the longest time. They don't know how to transition into content marketing. And I think that's why we are having businesses panicking like, oh, we should make money, but they really don't know how to. But that's just my opinion. I don't know about the rest of you.
Sorry, Rose, was it a question or a comment?
A comment, sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yes.
Thanks for that. We have about 5 minutes to go, so I'll pick another question from Mutua. Lots of consumers have less disposable income and are spending less. Would this be a good time to give discounts and or offers? Yet that will present a catch-22 to SMEs with high OPEX. How would you suggest balancing the two? I think, Siox, you have an accountant degree, right? On the side.
It's the value of the shilling again. When we were told, like, you don't need to go to the office, all of a sudden Uber Eats and Jumia were giving us discounts. And I asked myself, for how long will they do this? So you need to be tactical in these offers and discounts. This is a good time to give them, but you need to think of how you can tie it into things. For example, you're not going to do a BOGOF right now. How about you do something like 3 for the price of 2? So that means at least you've been able to push some stuff off the shelves. So you cannot say that we cannot do work on discounts and offers right now. Again, think about life after COVID. You want to be seen as this brand that never thought about its own fans. So think it's all about mathematics, and it's also good to do offers. Just don't make it look like you're disposing of products, and all these are just part of the whole marketing mix. Either way, you are still planning to give out discounts, only that now you have to rework the mathematics. And if you were to spend 1 million, think about spending something to do with like 300 to 400,000 on that. So we need to be careful of the shilling, but also be mindful of our consumers, because our consumers are looking up to us during this time.
All right, excellent. Excellent. There's an anonymous question. Should you advertise if you're in the medical field?
Yes, not really advertising, but find a communication angle right now, because people are looking at the clinical side of things. They're the beacon of hope. So you need to be empathetic in your communication right now. You need to see what are you offering that other medical people are not offering, because there was panic a while back when someone said, what is it called, like they're doing testing, and these guys had to be arrested and all that. Right now there's a conversation on, everyone is selling masks, but you need also to be careful, because if these masks are sanitized and all that, so don't be an enabler of this COVID, and also don't take advantage. We talk about re-advertising, where you take advantage in quotes of a situation. But this one, when it comes to re-advertising, we really have to be very, very empathetic. We have to be very cause marketing-like, to tell people we are here with you, and not just like take advantage of the situation. So there's no harm in, if you're in the medical field and you're advertising, only that you need to also observe the marketing code. Is the ethics you really need to look at. Yes.
And just to add on to Siox's point, from a media point of view, you should always, if you're using stuff like search campaigns, you should really try to avoid medical terms. This is just basically because of the kind of the tone of voice that you will use with your target audience. It has to be very understanding. It has to be very layman term, in other words, to ensure that your target audience actually understands what you are trying to get at. If you have any offers, if you're trying to get people to visit a clinic, a satellite clinic, and so on. There. Thank you, Siox.
All right, and just to add on, I think Mark Kaigwa reports captured this healthcare space as well, and it's really blossomed to the likes of MyDawa doing the most orders they've ever done. I'm sure most of us are also visiting our next door clinics and pharmacies to buy masks and sanitizer and whatever we need to keep ourselves healthy. So certainly, I think advertise, yes, as everyone has said, with a lot of empathy. We are right on time. I don't see any hand up. I don't see any questions that I'm sorry if we have not selected your question. Quite a lot that was there, and we're out of time. Really appreciate you guys for joining in. We are thankful, and we hope to see you in our next webinar, which is in 2 weeks' time.